Hi, students, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian. I'm streaming to you from beautiful Victoria on West Coast, Canada, here on Vancouver Island. I hope everybody is having a great weekend so far, staying healthy, strong, relaxing a bit, and learning for the future. Hi, Andre. Welcome, members. In this class, we are looking at IELTS Speaking Part 2, the cue card. This is the long part. This is where you have to speak for a couple of minutes on a specific question topic that the examiner will present you, and I'm going to walk you through this part of your speaking interview so that I can give you confidence and some insights into how to get those high IELTS band scores. Hi, Jaineel. All right, everyone. This lesson is presented to you by aehelp.com for academic IELTS success. Check us out there. For the general IELTS, visit us at gieltshelp.com. That's generalieltshelp.com. On both of our websites, we have lots and lots of help for you to improve your speaking. We have many, many videos. We have practice exams, and you can find students to speak with for free video chat, like a Skype chat. It's built into the website. Hi, Rashika. Hi, Nico. While we wait for a few more fellow members to come in, I'll show you what I mean. This is our academic website here at aehelp.com with the blue background. You can click that big red button to join the premium package. It has a one-time payment for lifetime access. Definitely well worth it. We are a British Council IELTS registration center. We are British Council certified agents as well. For the general IELTS, it is the green background. Again, you click that big red button for that one-time payment. And again, we are an IELTS registration center, so lots and lots of goodies there for you to learn, to improve. And if you have any questions, you can definitely contact me at adrian@aehelp.com. That's my email, and ask me any questions. We do have apps, of course. You can download our apps to your mobile. They link with the website, so you can learn from either our website or the app. They join together. Academic IELTS Help links to aehelp.com, and the app General IELTS Help links to gieltshelp.com. So if anybody doesn't have the app yet, make sure to get the app. It's one system for integrated learning. Good morning, Preeti. Rise and shine. 7 a.m. That's fantastic. Saga is even a little bit earlier. All right. Early birds, good to see you. Okay. So we have this speaking part 2, and then after the speaking part 2 class, we will have a speaking part 3. And these parts are linked, so they share topics. So it's good to hang around for both classes. This is speaking, so make sure to speak and repeat, everyone, not just members, but everybody watching. Copy my intonation, my pronunciation, my fluency as much as you can. When you hear new words, write them down. All right, after today, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, no class. That's usual. And then, as usual, I will be back on Wednesday with speaking part 1. And then we have a full week of live classes. So now that I'm getting settled here on the west coast of Canada, I will be hosting regular classes the same as usual, so it's a good time to get on board. The times, we're still figuring it out, and just to remind everyone that we are still building the studio, so we're still using an older setup, but we will have a newer setup coming for you very soon with faster streaming, higher quality live streaming lessons, so look forward to that. And now let's get into our part 2 cue card. Okay, everyone. So again, IELTS exam, you're confident. You showed up to your exam early. You practiced with another candidate while you were waiting to register. You're feeling good about yourself. You got called into the interview. You introduced yourself using full fluent sentences. and you answered about 4 or 5 questions for part 1, and now the examiner says, okay, now I will give you a card for part 2. The card has some questions on it. Please do not touch the card. That's what they tell you with COVID, so do not touch the card. You have some note paper there. You have a pen. You will have 1 minute to look at the questions on the card, think about your answers, and then you will have 2 minutes to speak. Of course, you can take notes in the 1 minute if you wish. I will tell you when to start, when to stop. All right, welcome, Vishnu. So that 1 minute preparation time is super duper important. Why is that? Why is the 1 minute preparation time for part 2 cue card a very important 1 minute in your 12-minute speaking interview, speaking part of the test? Okay, let's see if you come up with the same answers that I'm going to type here for you. So the 1 minute preparation time is very important because it has a major impact on both your part 2 and part 3 responses. Okay, so you got to remember these sections are linked. Okay, they'll even tell you that. So you'll see that later. Yeah, very good, Jainil. Yeah, so the part 2, part 3 are linked. So, of course, during this time, what's really important is to choose the right answer. Therefore, it is very important that you choose a great answer for your part 2. And we're going to talk about how to do that right now. Okay. All right. So your first step when you see that card is to read it really carefully. Okay. So you look at the card. This is what you see. Part 2, discuss an exciting day in your life. Okay. Discuss an exciting day in your life. The examiner will actually read this for you. So they'll say, your 1 minute preparation time begins now. Discuss an exciting day in your life. Okay. When you look at the card, they're emphasizing that. Okay. So when you look at the card, read it again, maybe even read it twice. Discuss an exciting day in your life. Okay. So here you don't want to say, well, I've had many exciting days in my life. No, it's an exciting day. It's one. Okay. That's what you're focusing on. All right. Please don't tell the examiner, thank you for the opportunity to talk about an exciting day in my life. That's not good. You're there to do a speaking exam. You don't need to thank the examiner. It's awkward. Okay. All right. So then here are the questions. When it happened, where were you? What made the day so exciting? How do you feel about it this day? Okay. You will have 1 to 2 minutes to talk about this topic. You will have 1 minute to prepare what you are going to say. Those are all right. And then you start your preparation. You've read the question. You've read it twice. It's so important to read this twice because one of the most common mistakes among IELTS candidates is that they go off topic and they do not talk about the right topic. So the most important 2 points that need to happen in that 1 minute are think about the questions carefully and choose a great answer. That's what has to happen. If it takes you the full minute, students, to think about those 2, then take the whole minute. Don't even worry about the notes. Okay, the notes are secondary. All right? Okay, so it's really important. All right. So now that we read the question carefully, what do we do next? So we've read the question carefully. We have an idea of what's going on. What do I do next? Okay, what do I have to recognize? Anybody know? Again, very important step here. Well, some of you know this, some of you might not, some of you maybe need a review, but part 2 will be about either a person, place, object, idea, or event. Basically, whatever the part 2 question is will be about one of these 5 here. So it will be a person, a place, object, idea, or event. And Jainil very cleverly is saying you need to identify the category of the cue card. In this case, you're talking about an event, okay? So in this case, it's an event, okay, which of course is an exciting day. And each of these 5 categories has a specific set of ideas that you need to include in your answer, okay? So when you're talking about an event, there are some specific points that you have to think about, regardless of the questions, to make your communication clear, okay? Anybody know what those are? So when you're telling another person about an event, what do you need to include in your response so that your listener goes, aha, okay, that's really clear. I can definitely be on the same page as the speaker and understand what happened and the emotions and all of the ideas connected to the event. So what do you include for your audience when you talk about an event? Okay. What should you have in there? And there is an order to this. So there's usually an order of what you should talk about first, second, third, okay? Yeah, so very nice, okay? We've got Preeti answering, we've got Jainil, okay, very good. So first you want to talk about time, so when did it happen? Then you want to talk about location, where did it happen? You want to talk about the attendees. Who was there, right? Who were the people? And then the activities, what were those people doing? Okay. And lastly, but not least, is the importance. So what did this event mean? Why was it memorable? So importance. Okay. Now, of course, you do want to identify the tense, and I can't remember, it was Saga who says identify the tenses that you need to use as well, okay? And past perfect, okay? Because it's about an event or an exciting day that happened, right? We know that from the second question here, okay? So when it happened, all right? So we know that it's the past. All right, and so we've got that figured out. When you practice at home, this is very, very quick, all right? So you identify that it's an event very quickly. You remember that you have to talk about time, location, attendees. So that's great, all right? You've got that down quick. Now, this is the thinking step, all right? This next step is the thinking step. What is that? What do I need to do now? So I've read the question, I've identified the category, I've thought about the tenses, and now I have to do what? Okay. What do I need to do? Preeti, be careful that your comma always comes after the last letter of the word with a space after, okay? So location, comma, space, people, okay? Comma, space, activities. Pay attention to that when you're typing. Okay, so Jainil says, think about 2 to 3 good ideas. And yeah, so this is the key step. Okay, so think of 2 to 3 ideas. What should they be so that you have a good answer? Okay, and you're right. One of the big mistakes that many students make is that they think of just one idea and they stick with it, and then that's it. That's all they do. And they go with it. And sometimes that idea isn't very good and it's very difficult to talk about. So you don't want to do that. All right. You want to give yourself at least a couple of options so that you can choose and say, hey, okay, I think this is the better choice for my speaking. And what do we base that choice on? So, what makes an idea a good choice? What are the qualifications of a good choice for speaking part 2? Can anybody tell me that? Okay. They should be ideas which are original, easy to talk about, and lots of information. Okay. Yeah, honey, very good. You remembered that one, right? So much information. Why is that important? Okay, so let me give you some ideas. So template responses get low marks. For example, don't talk about your cell phone. Okay. One of the most common topics when the question is about an object is people talking about their smartphones. Please don't talk about your smartphone. Way too many people talk about their smartphones. For this one, it would be maybe a wedding. Okay. So to keep it more to this, sure, maybe your wedding was a really exciting day in your life, but I don't really recommend talking about it because there's so many people probably talking about your wedding, their weddings or their birthdays, okay? All right, easy to talk about. The reason why easy to talk about is so important is so that you don't get stuck explaining or expressing yourself. All right, so what happens sometimes is students pick a good idea that's very original, but it's so difficult to talk about, and then they're not able to talk about it, okay? So, for example, getting a driving license, it has a lot of specific words, especially if you're talking about your road test and how that was very exciting and you had to pay attention to the speed limit. And you had to really be careful when switching gears and doing shoulder checks to not cause hazards while in heavy traffic. So it's possible you might be able to talk about it, but you're going to get into some niche vocabulary. And if you don't have that vocabulary quickly, it's going to really obstruct your fluency. Okay? So be really careful about that. Okay? And lots of information. Lots of information means that you can talk about it for 2 minutes without repeating your ideas, okay? One of the really common, this is probably the most common mistake, okay, is that people just repeat themselves. And when that happens, the examiner will often stop you, so you don't want that. Okay, you don't want to be repeating yourself. All right. So let's say an example would be like when I proposed to my wife. I took her to a restaurant, and during dessert, I surprised her by getting down on my knee and asking her hand for marriage. She was so surprised, and so we were at this restaurant, and I was really anxious while we were waiting for dessert. And then when the dessert came, I jumped up and I was like, hey, will you marry me? And then she was super surprised. And so it was a really exciting day because it was really I was really nervous while I was proposing to her and while I was on my. So it's kind of like, okay, maybe you can. So maybe some people can talk about 2 minutes about their proposal that's unique and interesting, and you did it in some different way that was very planned, and there were many different steps. That's fine, okay? But if you didn't, if you simply just got down on your knee during dessert and said, "Will you marry me?" that might not be enough for a good 2-minute response to explain to your audience about an exciting day in your life, okay? So be really careful. I'm just giving you these examples so that you know what I'm talking about. And again, the important points here are that it's original, okay? Easy to talk about, and you have lots of information, okay? All right, so let's think of some responses, okay? So give me some ideas. Event, exciting day. Okay. Give me some ideas. So Janelle says my university convocation day bachelor's degree. Okay, so sure, convocation, graduation day at university. All right, Nico, let's be a little bit specific. So you're saying getting a good job. Let's be a little bit more specific. All right, so let's say starting my junior engineering job or first day on the job. As junior engineer at, let's go Aramco, the American Arabic Oil Company. All right, sure. Okay, so again, you want to be specific. Vishnu says a trip to Hill Station. I'm not sure what that is, but all right. All right, how about flying to Canada? First day at the gym. Preeti, I like it. Okay. So, sure. So, first day at the local gym. All right. Okay. All right, good. I like it. Okay, so here we have some good ideas. All right, I like them. They're original. Some of them are easy to talk about. First day at the gym is a good one, except one of the challenges with talking about being at the gym is, again, the vocabulary. So working out and exercise have some really specific vocabulary, and you could get yourself into trouble describing why you were excited during your first day at the gym. Okay, Janelle says, first time air traveling to Dubai. Yeah, let's take one more. All right. Okay, good. Convocation graduation day at the university. That one's okay. It might have some tricky vocabulary. Also, it might be a little bit unoriginal. So lots of people might be choosing that one. First day on the job could be a really interesting one. Okay, I know that many people are quite excited on their first day on the job, for sure. Just make sure that you're very, very specific and you talk about your specific job, okay? A trip to Hill Station, yeah, so certain trips could be good. And first time taking a flight to Dubai, I like that one, okay? So I think that that one's fairly easy to talk about. There could be lots and lots of information there, especially if you visualize and describe your whole trip. So let's go with that one. So Yeah, let's go with taking my first airplane flight to Dubai. I think that's a good choice. I think there's definitely a lot of content there, and I think we can do a really good speech of why that's exciting. That's exciting in many different ways. So let's do that one. Okay, great. All right, so now it's notes time. For notes, make sure that you write usable notes, okay? So write useful notes. Don't write taking my first flight to Dubai. So first think about the when, okay? And give some specific information. So when did you fly to Dubai? Okay? Give me a time, all right? Give me a specific time. And be specific here. Be specific. Okay? So don't just say 2 years ago, all right? You don't need to write that down in your notes because anybody can remember that you took a flight to Dubai 2 years ago. So you want to be a little bit more specific if you're going to write something useful, okay? That will help you to develop your speaking. Okay, so yeah, that's good. So let's do that one. So, all right, that's for the when. So December 23rd, 7 a.m. All right, so that's specific. I would put the time, okay? Because in the early morning when we're fresh, we get even more excited. So we can talk about that, right? Okay, so December 23rd, 7 a.m. Okay, good. So location, we know that we're going to Dubai. Where are we flying from? So what's the airport that we're flying from? Okay, and we're flying to Dubai, obviously. All right. Okay, so Honey says flying from Bangalore. Okay, we don't need to say Dubai. Let's say you're going to the Burj Khalifa. Okay. All right. So you've been invited to stay at the Burj Khalifa. Why would I write Burj Khalifa? Because it's super exciting, right? It's one of the biggest buildings in the world. So again, it's adding content, right? You want content, okay? All right. So location, good. Attendees. So who should you talk about here? So this is your flight. And who might you want to include in your speech talking about this so that you can explain that it was exciting, okay? All right, so Vishnu says that there's a transit somewhere as well. That's something you might include. That would be interesting. So if you have a layover, yeah. Okay, Vishnu says friends, sure. Let's go with some of our members. So friends, Nico, we haven't heard from you in a while, so we'll put you in there. Who else haven't we heard from in a while here? Saga. So we'll go Nico and Saga. So we're flying with our friends Nico and Saga. Hopefully this will get you joining in on the party here. All right. Okay. So now we want to think of some more. We want to think of some more attendees. All right. I would probably, so friends would remember. So these are okay notes, but some better notes might be something like the captain, flight crew. Okay. So those might be some people that you mention as you talk about this exciting day. Okay, There's Saga. Okay. All right. Good. So then we want to talk about activities. All right. So here's where we want to be careful. What kind of activities would happen here? There's Nico. Good. Saga, Nico, you're here with us. Okay, so Saga, Nico, what kind of activities will we want to talk about on this exciting day when we flew to Dubai? Okay, so think about verbs here. This is where you really want to think about your verbs that will help you to explain yourself in detail. Okay, keep focusing on the topic of the cue card, right? So the topic here is exciting day. You're not talking simply about a trip to Dubai. You're talking about an exciting day. So packing, yeah. What do you do when you go to the airport? You pack, right? So you bring your belongings. What else do you do? Security check or check-in, yeah. Okay. What else? So you've prepared your passport, your visa. Good. Okay. Yeah, we all get a little bit excited and nervous. Kuldeep, welcome aboard. Nice to have you. Okay, Saga says seeing some views. Yeah. Okay, so that'll be a little bit later on. You want to be as linear as possible. So seeing the views out the plane window. Yeah. Absolutely. Before you do that, before you see those views, what else? What are the most exciting parts of flying on a plane? I think a lot of us get kind of nervous and excited during this part of our flight. I've flown many times in my life, but I still get quite excited and quite anxious and all these interesting feelings. Janelle says the interview with the immigration officer. So that's again the security check. Okay. Kuldeep, yeah, it's great. Thank you for joining our group of members. Send me an email so I can hook you up with your perks. Okay. You've got some exclusive videos coming your way, so make sure to contact me. Boarding pass. Yeah, very good. Prathamesh, there you are, coming out with an excellent answer. So taking off and landing. Okay, now here's a tricky one. And if you know this word, great. If you don't, definitely avoid trying to explain this. What is it when the airplane suddenly goes up and down, up and down? So when you're flying, and it's quite scary, when the plane goes like that. What is that called? Anybody know what that's called? If you have the vocabulary, use it because the examiner will give you points. Yarabisha, very nice, followed by Jainil. Yeah, it's not fluctuating, it's turbulence. Turbulence, yeah. You can kind of remember this by thinking of the word turbo, turbulence. Okay. All right, very good. Okay, and then in your notes, you don't need to write this, but have it mentally, is don't forget the last question. So how did you feel about it? Okay, this is your experience. Okay, or the importance. All right, so memory of a lifetime. All right, now, hopefully your 1 minute preparation time is not up yet, so the examiner is not calling on you just yet to start speaking. Hopefully you have about 5-6 seconds left, okay? In the last 5 or 6 seconds of your preparation time, what should you do? Say 10 seconds. In the last 10 seconds of your 1 minute preparation time, think of your, What should you think of in that last 10 seconds? It's extremely important. This is a really, really important step, students. A lot of students don't do this, and they start late, and they start slow, and they start too general. Not the last sentence, the first sentence, Saga. The first sentence. Think of your first opening sentence. It's a very important step. So when the examiner says, okay, your 1 minute preparation time is up, please begin speaking, you immediately go right to the point. You answer the question directly, and you start speaking your first sentence. That's right, Nico, your opening sentence. It's really important. So your first sentence just comes from answering the topic, okay? So the question here is discuss an exciting day in your life, and then the rest of it. So here, right away, I recommend not paraphrasing the topic word or words, but going directly for the topic words, okay? You can paraphrase after, but show the examiner right away that you're not missing the point, okay? So I would start with one of the most exciting days that I can recall in my life is when. Okay, so I would start like this. Give me your first sentence, students. So give me your first sentence. It doesn't have to read the same as mine, but be really direct, okay? All right, so, and keep it simple. Make sure that that first sentence is really clean and clear. I know a lot of candidates are a little bit nervous in part two, okay? So just make it quick, clean, clear, okay? You don't have to overcomplicate it. One of the most exciting days that I can recall in my life is when I flew to Dubai back in 2018, okay? Vishnu says, well, if I recall, in my mind, where I enjoyed a lot in a day was my first flight to Dubai. Okay, Vishnu, that's good. Yeah, that works. If I recall is a little bit awkward, Vishnu, because I mean, you clearly recall the exciting day in your life. It's kind of strange to say, well, if I recall an exciting day in my life, it's like, well, how do you not recall an exciting day? So careful with that, Vishnu. But otherwise, it's quite good. Okay, I would probably take out the condition. So I can recall when I had enjoyed a lot in a day was my first flight to Dubai. It would be a little bit more direct. Okay. All right. And then we start building from what we talked about step by step, the time, the location, and so on, right? So it was the first time I had been on a plane flying from Bangalore International to Dubai at 7 a.m. in the morning of December 23rd. Okay, so lots of great information there. All right. Honey says, one of the most special days, which I still recall clearly, when I first flew to Dubai. Yeah, Honey, good. Okay, I would probably, Honey, again, use the word exciting instead of special, because exciting is a little bit different than just special. So I would use very specifically the topic words in the question, Honey. Preeti says, one of the most enjoyable days of my life was December 23rd, 2019, when I flew to Dubai. Okay, Preeti, again, the same advice. So use the exact qualifying word, exciting. Okay. Rashika says, my first airplane flight to Dubai was the most exciting day that I can remember. Good, Rashika. So you're using the word exciting. Instead of flying, flight is the noun in this case. Okay, so my first airplane flight. flight instead of flying. Flight to Dubai is a most exciting day that I can remember. Okay. Janiel says, the most exciting day of my life is the first time traveling to Dubai by plane. All right, good. So now we want to continue. All right. And we're using our notes and we're using what we have in our mind and we're following along with this set of points when talking about an event. So location, we've got that, attendees, activities, importance, and of course at the same time, we're also paying attention to the card that the examiner has presented us with. When it happened, where were you, what made the day so exciting. So we want to include those. Okay. All right. So I started a little bit here, so just start adding some sentences for me using that information, okay? Use the information from your mind, start connecting it together one step at a time, and I'll start taking your advice and adding it to my sentences. And I'll start adding some as well. So one of the most exciting days that I can recall in my life is when I flew to Dubai back in 2018. It was the first time I had been on a plane flying from Bangalore International to Dubai at 7 a.m. in the morning of December 21st. Okay. Kuldeep, it is bad if you miss any of the key questions. Yes. So here the examiner is looking for completing the task. And it's a very common mistake, Kuldeep, that students miss questions on the card or candidates. So don't miss any questions. Yeah, make sure to look at the card. That's why they're showing it to you. Okay, so I'm going to keep writing here. So I had decided to embark on this journey with two of my good friends, Nico and Saga, as we had heard many great stories about all of the sights, sounds, and entertainment in Dubai. Okay, so giving a little bit of background, a little bit of reason, and the attendees, right? I was quite nervous while packing my bags and excited at the same time. At the airport during check-in, I had been a bit anxious because I packed so much for our 1-week vacation. I was scared that they would not allow my check or my carry-on luggage on the plane. Okay, right? So again, keep writing. So students, keep adding some information here. Janiel says, the most exciting day of my life is the first time traveling to Dubai by plane. Good. Preeti says, this was my first experience of air travel from Delhi airport to Dubai at 7 in the morning. Okay, keep going, students. Keep adding information. Don't just look at what I'm writing, but also add information. All right? Okay. Okay, so notice how I'm just basically going through those points. Now, if I forget what I want to say at this point, I'm just going to go back and look at my notes. I know I'm talking about the attendees, so I talked about my friends Nico and Saga, who we are planning to explore Dubai with, maybe do some indoor skiing, some bungee jumping from the Burj Khalifa or somewhere else, riding some camels in the desert. Who knows? Oh, there's captain and flight crew. Okay, all right. So Let's see what we can write about that. All right? So I recall that the flight crew and the captain were very friendly and encouraging, especially during takeoff and landing. As I had never been on a plane before, the experience of taking flight was both thrilling and terrifying. Okay, let's see what you come up with. So keep writing, students. I want to see some of what you have as well. So Janelle says it happened in the early morning at 6 a.m. on the 23rd of December. I booked an online ticket at the Emirates website from Bangalore International in Dubai. Preeti says I was a bit nervous and a little anxious about my flight because it was a 5-hour journey. Kuldeep says I would love to mention about the scrumptious laddu which I enjoyed eating after dinner. You mean on the flight, Kuldeep? Okay, so was that the dinner that you had on the flight? Again, make sure, Kuldeep, that you want to stay on topic. Notice all the words, students, that I'm using to emphasize the topic of this card, like thrilling and terrifying, scared, anxious, nervous. When you go through these sentences, you can see that there are lots of words which are synonyms to the concept of exciting, okay? All right? So, of course, as with many other people, I had some thoughts that the plane might crash and burn, especially when we experienced a bit of turbulence flying over the Indian Ocean. Okay? So, yeah, when we have turbulence, we're going to get really nervous. Okay? Preeti says, during the flight, I got a chicken sandwich and coffee, which was a great experience having food in the air. Very good, Preeti. I like it. Okay? So, during the flight, I got a chicken sandwich and a coffee, which was a great experience having food at 30,000 feet in the air. Yeah, very good, Preeti. So I just took what you had and I added a little bit to it, a little bit of quantitative language as well. Okay, all right. Fortunately, the landing went smoothly also, and my friends and I had an incredible experience in the city. Okay. All right, so we've got lots of information. Notice we've got lots of great content. We're really adding in a lot of great detail, okay? All right. Nico says the flight attendants were very helpful. As soon as I requested some food or refreshments, they were quick to bring me what I asked for and to help me feel comfortable. Very good, Nico, okay? A little bit more expressive, but definitely on the right idea. Now, make sure, members, that you're also saying these sentences. Don't just write them. Rashika says, after checking in, we met the flight crew briefly, and the receptionist offered to take us and help us a bit, checking in and giving us our boarding passes. Okay, Rashika, a little bit of awkward phrasing, but you're in the right direction. Okay. Now, last sentence. Today, I look back on this flight with a lot of nostalgia and as one of the most exciting days I've had. Okay, so again, I'm going back to the original topic of the question. This is a really good strategy. Open with the topic of the question, close with the topic of the question. Now, if you still have a bit of time, you can go into deeper explanation. Don't repeat yourself. You can say a little bit more about the events of the flight, or maybe even what you did after landing, checking into the hotel, so you can expand. Don't repeat yourself, but definitely close with the topic of the question as well. Okay, so it is a very good idea to close, to both open and close with the topic of the question, which in this case here is an exciting day. Okay. All right, so let's practice some speaking here. Repeat after me. All right. So part 2, discuss an exciting day in your life. You should say when it happened, where were you, what made the day so exciting, how do you feel about it this day. Here we go. The examiner says, okay, your 1-minute preparation time is up. Please begin speaking. One of the most exciting days that I can recall in my life is when I flew to Dubai back in 2018. It was the first time I had been on a plane flying from Bangalore International to Dubai at 7 a.m. in the morning of December 23rd. I had decided to embark on this journey with 2 of my good friends, Nico and Saga, as we had heard many great stories about all of the sights, sounds, and entertainment in Dubai. I was quite nervous while packing my bags and excited at the same time. At the airport during check-in, I had been a bit anxious because I packed so much for our 1-week vacation. I was scared that they would not allow my carry-on luggage onto the plane. I recall that the flight crew and the captain were very friendly and encouraging, especially during takeoff and landing. As I had never been on a plane before, the experience of taking flight was both thrilling and terrifying. Of course, as with many other people, I had some thoughts that the plane was going to crash and burn, especially when we experienced a bit of turbulence flying over the Indian Ocean. During the flight, I got a chicken sandwich and a coffee, which was a great experience having food at 30,000 feet in the air. Fortunately, the landing went smoothly also, and my friends and I had an incredible experience in the city. Today, I look back on this flight with a lot of nostalgia as one of the most exciting and exhilarating days that I've had. Okay, your 2 minutes is up. Now I will ask you some questions related to the topic of part 2 and a question or two in connection to your response. And then the examiner will go on. Okay. Saga, you should only write a couple of key words on the paper during your note-taking time that help you to go into more details, help you to avoid repetition, and give you good structure. Okay? All right. Kuldeep says, I was amazed to see how people depart from the plane. I wish I could get a chance to visit Dubai again. Yeah, that's nice closing sentences also. Just remember, Kuldeep, to add the words, and this was a really exciting day for me as well as my friends. So go back to that topic of the exciting day, okay? All right, everyone. So that's part 2, and that's how you talk about an event. Kuldeep, thank you for joining our group of members. I look forward to having you in the future classes. And again, everyone, we have another class coming up in half an hour. So we have a half-hour break, and then I am back with part 3. And part 3 will be questions related to the topic of part 2. Okay, so hang around, do more practice. Even in the half hour, go over this lesson again a little bit. Practice speaking. You're very welcome, Kuldeep, Rashika, Nico, Saga. Thank you for being the friends in this journey here today with me. And for everybody watching, remember to join our premium IELTS packages at aehelp.com and gltshelp.com. Definitely worth a couple of dollars to get lots of content and help, okay? So that's it for me for now. I'll be back shortly. See you soon. Bye.